See the full animated short at playoverwatch.com.
The HGC continues with our first match of the day. Synergy is currently up 2-0 over beGenius. And Coach Caldor has mentioned that beGenius needs to play the map a little bit more. Will they take the advice, or are they doomed to go down 0-8?
Right now, I would... first of all, I'm really curious to see what the next map is so that we can talk about this a bit. But really, they need to change their draft strategy up a little bit, or this is going to end badly for them.
Okay, well, we'll see if that will happen here. The next battleground, we'll figure out where we're going pretty darn soon. It's going to be Sky Temple, and beGenius has elected to choose the battleground this time, so giving up the first pick.
Okay, so once again, Sky Temple. So we have to really look at globals here. It's the same old story. It's a great map for globals, so they have to try and utilize that. We've seen them do decent plays with Falstad on the first map, so I feel a little bit more confident for them going into this one. But winning 3 in a row is never easy. Having that reverse sweep is incredibly difficult, especially from a psychological view.
Totally.
So I want to see what they can pull off here.
You have to go into it not thinking about the 3-0, though. You got to start thinking, okay, we need to get a win under our belt. And then from there, you get some momentum going. The team morale goes up. Because even in that late game, even though they were kind of getting beat down around that top right fort, at least they were still fighting as a team and, you know, using a concave, trying to set up. They were just so far behind they couldn't make a play happen. So they can still team fight. It's just this time, focus on the battleground and try to get this win.
Yeah, the one thing that we also have to put in perspective here is that once that you fall behind on a map like Tomb of the Spider Queen, if your opponent is playing a clean and cut game, you have a very rough time coming back into it, especially with the comp that beGenius was running, so you can't really blame them for looking bad in the second half of the game. Once you get that lead and Synergy doesn't mess up, it's incredibly difficult to come back. Now on the other hand, this is being reset, and yeah, let's find out what's going to happen here. Once again, Synergy with a quick ban on the Abathur, worried about those beGenius tricks that we have here.
I do love the Abathur tricks. Are we getting closer together? There we go. There you go. Nice. I was feeling...
2 heroes that we're probably not going to see in this draft.
Unfortunately not. Kerrigan, being the god that she is, destroying on the combos. If anyone were to do it, though, I would love to see a Hydra Kerrigan. I feel like I praise him a little bit too much, maybe, but I just watch him, and I just see an aggressive player, and I'm like, I want to be that guy. I want to mess stuff up.
Yeah, I want to see one of the odd picks from him. But right now when we're looking at the draft, so guys, in case you're a little bit surprised by the Abathur ban, it's basically a target ban against beGenius because they love to run their Abathur combos with a Tracer, with a Greymane. They're really famous for that. So this is one of the ways how Synergy simply says, okay, we're going to take that away from you. Again, on this map, we have priority on the global. So it's likely that beGenius is going to run this with a Dehaka. And they are not. They play the Lucio. Lucio doesn't surprise. He is very high in priority, oftentimes banned out. They play the Vala, also incredibly popular in the European meta at this point. If you watch a bit of North America, you see that they don't value her not really at all. But that they actually let the Dehaka go is an interesting play, because right now what we're going to see is Synergy either picking him up if they are saying, okay, we want to have double globals, or there's very likely that they're going to ban him out if they don't, to deny him to the opponent.
It's also really weird, too, because beGenius, if it was a Dehaka first pick and beGenius went to go for a Falstad, maybe that would make more sense. But Dehaka is a staple that they've ran so much in the last few weeks. It's a hero that they are comfortable with, and they just completely ignore him here and go for Vala Lucio, which means two things. Either A, they have a plan, or B, they think Synergy can't run the global game that well. And Synergy played pretty solid in game number 2. Game 1, sure, there was some faults here and there, but overall, the squad is looking much better than beGenius right now. You cannot give away such powerful tools like that Dehaka.
All right, a Varian and a Greymane. So not opting for Dehaka here. They have a global. Question still remains, are they going to ban him out? With Varian and Greymane, we're probably going to see a Cursed Bullet on Greymane. Looks very much like this is going to be Varian charging in, Cursed Bullet following up, trying to blow the target to pieces. And that is dangerous for a lot of the heroes that we already have on the side of beGenius. So let's see what we're going to have with our bans now popping up.
Especially against a Lucio. Varian is a great counterpick in a Lucio because he has a really hard time saving targets overall if the shield barrier timings aren't on point. He doesn't have the cleanse available. Also, if you just dive onto a Lucio and you taunt him, for the most part, he's dead, no matter what. So Lucio's positioning suddenly has to be on point and has to sit around the backline and play more Malfurion-esque, if you will.
And that also forces Lucio, as you already said, to sit a little bit farther behind. So he can't make these plays anymore. He just like swoops behind a target and pushes it back. So that takes a bit of the utility that Lucio usually offers to a team away from them.
No more boops, man.
Yeah, no more boops. Strat is going to be sad. beGenius, on the other hand, what are they going to ban out here? We have the Rhaegar ban. Okay.
Okay. Rhaegar ban makes sense. With it being a variant here, there is a good possibility that we have double tank solo support. So taking out the Rhaegar is one of the great ways to crutch that type of playstyle. Arthas has been dropped for synergy.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that they are actually letting the Dehaka slide through. What they are trying to deny here is the combo with Arthas and Lucio.
I think I would like it, actually. Varian and Greymane is very dive heavy, and say you mess up the dive. Arthas is one of those heroes that you don't want to deal with if you mess up a dive. So I actually prefer that. Leave Dehaka up and then just try to have a better team fight and better rotations on your globals.
Yeah, question is now if beGenius is using it. We have actually seen a few teams that were completely willing yesterday to give up globals completely and just say like, okay, we don't care about that. The macro game is not where we're going to win this. We're going to win this in the team fights. It's just some teams are more confident in their team fighting ability than playing the macro game. And I mean, this is like just play styles that you have. Normally, you would say from Optima point of view, you would love to just like have that global mobility and outplay the opponent there. But some teams disagree on that part, and beGenius seems to be one of them. And you have a Muradin in here and a Zarya. So in addition to the Lucio, we now have the shields turning Vala into that hyper carry that she oftentimes is. Synergy, on the other hand, still with options.
So beGenius now with the Zarya picks has a strong 3-man lane. You can put Muradin and whoever their 5th pick is into a different lane. You can break down turrets and grab experience early, which Synergy will have to deal with, which means that Varian rotations have to be kind of on point here, especially because Varian has become what most would say a real tank until level 10 when he gets that taunt available. So there is tools here for beGenius. Synergy just needs to play a patient game in the early game, or if they do want to play aggressive, it's got to be aggressive fly-ins from Falstad. Now, their 4th and 5th pick, what are we thinking here?
I mean, when it comes to the support, they have still a few options. One, Malfurion is still there. If you want to have additional lockdown, you can go for Malf. They also played a lot with the Oriel, as we said before, if you're confident in that. The Rhaegar was banned out for them, but they have a Ragnaros now, so that is, first of all, in the beginning, good for the solo lane. It adds someone to the front line with Varian, not going for that heavy double tank that we oftentimes see, but still adding the second melee. And it is the Malfurion, so we have the additional roots. And this is a blow-up combo if you've ever seen one. Varian dashing in, Malfurion with the roots.
Oh, Samuro.
Yeah, and with Ragnaros, you will see the Rag ult coming on top of that. Greymane with the cursed bullet. So the whole idea of Synergy's draft right now is pick a target, go straight for it, even with the shields on Zarya. You don't care about that, and you take him down. And as he said, on the other side, we have a Samuro.
Samuro being picked up. We've seen one in the past here for HGC Europe way back in the day. It was like, what, 6 weeks ago? It was used on Braxis as a counter to the Zeratul play of Wubby, which was actually pretty outstanding to see. And it didn't really unfold the way we wanted it to, but it was still something that slowed down. Samuro being here, does he get on the back line? Does he deal with Falstad? Can he be a threat?
I'm wondering that myself right now, because my first instinct is that he is not really contributing too much to that setup that we are seeing. And he's not really dealing with the issue at hand, which is your opponent wants to blow one of your targets up and then just like carry it from there. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic. I mean, they're obviously confident going into that pick.
Totally.
So let's see how exactly they play him, if he's trying to just push out a little bit more at the start. But when you look at the composition for Synergy, you see there's a strategy behind this. It's pick a target, blow it up, have a 4 versus 5 after that. So if Samuro can really disrupt it to an extent where they are not getting that kill, that's the question that we're going to find out in the game.
Yep, Varian engage into Malfurion root, into Curse Bullet, into Saphira Smash. Does this sound scary to you? Because it sounds pretty scary to me. It's pretty darn good. So I'm ready to watch and see how beGenius pulls this off here. I think they can get an experience lead early if they do put that throw-in rotation. You put Valo, Lucio, and Zarya in one lane. Try and grab some experience there. You get Muradin in another. He can maybe rotate it in for experience. And you let Samuro do some Muro things, whatever that might be.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to find out on the map now, because I really think at this point, it's a risky play if you're already 2 maps behind. This is one of the things I could have seen maybe if you're feeling a bit more confident in the next game of the series, but the life on this series is on the line right now. And now pulling a play like this, it's going to be interesting if that confidence that they have in the Samuro pick is justified.
All right, well, let's do it. Let's go into game number 3, Sky Temple. Will we have Synergy walk away with a full victory, or can beGenius start to mount the comeback with their boy Samuro? Let's find out.
A 2-0 lead for Synergy as we are heading into Sky Temple. Once again, we have them starting to the left side of the map in blue. Hydra on the Ragnaros this time. Sir Ice Cream on the Greymane. Zefka as a support player is, of course, playing Malfurion. Varian played by Power of Dreams, and Neon on the Falstad.
To the right, beGenius in the red. Danatan will be showing off his Murden gameplay. Unstable will be on Lucio. And we're going to be having also up in the top right, Arakeen on Vala, Tank for the win on Zarya, and Kirva will be the one to show off Samuro.
This is going to be a really interesting game, I know. I mean, of course, for beGenius, there's a lot on the line, but the interesting part for me is, will that combo that Synergy is trying to execute be successful for them? Because the problem, of course, is if you mess it up and if you don't kill the target, you have used most of your heroic abilities and you are in a pretty awkward position. So this is something that we have to watch out for here. Note again that only one of these teams has a global available to them.
And that would be Synergy. For those that haven't seen the Falstead yet, here on the left or Neon there, dealing with the pressure on the top lane as well as they can, while Samuro has pushed in the middle lane. On the opposite side, though, Synergy has gone in on the bottom lane. A full wall, gate, 2 turrets, killed off a well here, and a fort possibly being killed too.
They are going all out at this point. And Malfurion already providing the vision on Samuro, so that makes his life a lot harder than it already is. So this is going to have a huge impact on it. And, I mean, I'm sorry to say, but Synergy is having a much better opening here than their opponent. You have to think about also what we are seeing here. This is not only that it's all about an exchange in forts that we are potentially seeing. Think about which fort was just taken out. It's the one at the bot lane. And this is going to be one of the most important positions in the game once the second temple phase starts at the bottom. So right now it seems very much like beGenius won't even be able to fight for it.
That, the boss too, another point as well. The boss doesn't have to go through a fort. That's one less speed bump it has to get to even move into the core. So Synergy having a strong early game here. Forts will be traded, so experience is similar, but actual map implications about that boss being, or that fort being taken in the bottom right is much better for Synergy. Now, the temples do spawn. We're going to have that 1-for-1 trade while Synergy continues the push in the middle lane, grabbing experience, and Falstead just happily sitting in the top left. Yep,
Falstead sitting up at the top. We have a trade in the temples. And this is looking really good for Synergy right now. So in case you're a little bit newer to Heroes of the Storm, I'll explain real quickly why that bottom lane is so important. The second objective phase is going to be a single temple down at the bottom of the map. And if you're able to break through your opponent's wall down there, you take out the fountain. And once that happens, you have a huge advantage going into a battle over the objective because you can simply fall back to your own gate. You have a very short distance to safety. You're able to go to the fountain, heal up, and then join the fight again. So the sustain for the entire team is gigantic. And this is one of the things that Synergy accomplished by taking down beGenius' bottom lane fort. So that will help them with the next phase immensely. And once you start falling behind here, it's usually bad news. So that's a pretty huge play.
beGenius looking for a kill. Danatan diving on Malfurion. He does heal himself. He's low on health. The final hit does come in from Danatan, though, and Synergy will lose a member. Ragnaros stayed in the bottom lane, though, and kept getting experience.
And that could have been played better by Synergy, to be quite honest. It was quite strange to see how long Malfurion actually survived, but I feel a couple of body blocks from the rest of the team would have helped a lot there. And they were actually in a position where they could have tried to do that. So right now, Malfurion falling isn't really the worst thing that could happen to Synergy because it's just like one hero dead on not a solo lane, so you still, it's also early in the game, so the death timer is not really all that high. But I feel like that's a death that was preventable.
Yeah, especially after the Stormbolt did connect and he got the heal off. You just have Falstead fly into the barrel roll, if you will, and just kind of block.
Yeah.
Regardless, one kill is one kill. Bygones be bygones. Nothing too big really happening as we just go back to normal Sky Temple now. Normal, with forts being missing for our map, as both teams grab the mercenary camps. Top lane being pushed in by Falstead, that's where the global comes into power.
Exactly, so every single time that you have a global available when you're playing on Sky Temple, you want, before the second temple phase starts, you want to have the global hero up at the top lane. What allows, that's one thing that allows you to do is that you can simply push the lane. So your opponent at that point has two choices. Either they can meet that with one of their heroes, which usually takes a longer time to rotate down to the bottom, or they can just simply abandon it and 5-man the bot lane and try to make a play for the objective. If that happens, you can either use the global to push out the lane, catch an extra wave, and then fly down, or you can instead just say, okay, we're going to 4-man the bot lane against 5, we're going to poke a little bit, we accept that they get the objective, but we're going to try and get some damage in, and our hero up at the top is just going to push it in. It's also one of the reasons why Falstead in this case went on level 7, not for secret weapon, but for boomerang, so that he has added wave clear and can get more value out of the situation.
Well, speaking about talents, let's talk about Samuro a little bit here. He's building into his blade, wanting to go for that single target DPS damage and trying to burst down either Malfurion and Falstad, or maybe even Greymane if he goes in for a dive. So Samuro is just meant to be a flanker here, or even one of those that set up and try and get cleanup potential. So I'm going to watch Kirvois. We're going to see if he can get to pull off, but it is going to be one of those difficult tasks, especially with Roots being around, Taunt coming out at level 10, even Ragnaros with that cleave on the Illusion Masters whenever those Qs come out. You can have so many things go wrong for the Samuro.
And at this point, he's already moving to the top. And you can see what happens here. We have beGenius going on the temple first, trying to sneak a few shots. But as soon as they see Synergy moving in, not only because of the level 10 that happens now, but because of everything that we talked about before, they immediately move back. They stole a few of the shots away, now they move back, and in the meantime, we have even Synergy going to make a play for boss here. The reason for this is that they are very well aware that the level 10 that they now have gives them a huge edge and a bit of a timing window. beGenius is not far off.
beGenius trying to get 10 here. If they could get that expulsion zone, Tank for the win would be able to contest. Synergy now realizing that will attempt to go ahead and retreat away and head down to the bottom temple. I like the play, and I also like the patience of understanding, okay, our opponents are about to get a power play, let's just not force it.
Yeah, they could have made the play because of Samuro being at the top, but it would have been a bit risky. The Gust would have had to be at a perfect timing, and they might have been a bit afraid that Samuro is just leaves some clones up there and moves down in the meantime and all of a sudden appears there. So they decide to play it safe for now, and I feel it's the correct play to make because they already have an edge. They have a lead. If you just look at the map, all forts are taken apart from beGenius. That's a big part. And here comes the combo. And this is the blow-up that we've been talking about. But Danatan is still alive. They were trying to go for Muradin, and they are not able to get a kill. Instead, it's Ragnaros that falls.
Wow, Kirvois comes in and brings in that final blow. Tank for the win at the front left at the same time. beGenius did get through the initial burst of Synergy, and this allows them to turn around. But oh no, Tank for the win does get taunted. Underneath the fort, he gets focused down by Sir Ice Cream, and Synergy answers back with a kill of their own.
I mean, let's be honest here, going for Muradin was probably the worst target they could have gone for. They still end up with a double kill, but Muradin is the toughest target to kill for them, regardless of who else is around. So I think if they focus on someone else, they get the kill. And they're able to pick up two. Zarya falls and so does Samuro. So once again, a lead in experience for Synergy, and they're going in for these moves now. And as we expected, it's also that blow-up comp with a Curse Bullet, so a very direct approach of Synergy. They have a very strong idea of how to open up these fights.
beGenius going to try and help and live through that. Level 13 will help out when that cleanse comes in for Zarya, as well as level 16 when she does grab those. So she should be able to start dealing with that pressure eventually when they get to that late game and get those talents available. But for now, beGenius has to err on the side of caution. Sound barrier has to be on point because you know that damage is coming your way. Synergy grabs Mercenaries, we'll start pushing in the bottom lane, and consistently, beGenius is keeping an eye on this boss, as it could be taken away from Synergy at any point. With them having the Mighty Gust, and of course the Greymane damage, they could move in for it.
Yeah, and now that we have the next temple phase coming online, the thing to note here is that all of the forts are eliminated on the side of beGenius. So Synergy has a structural advantage that is massive. They still have a fort in the middle and in the bottom of the map. So it means right now that if they get in the temples, these temples are starting to attack the keeps directly. And with that happening, there's an incredible pressure on beGenius. This is, in my opinion, one of the reasons why Synergy doesn't go for those aggressive moves at this point. They moved back twice where they could have taken a fight, and this is because they realize, hey, we are massively ahead, we have a lead in experience, we have an extra talent, and more importantly, from a structural point of view, we are dominating this game right now. There is no reason for us to take unnecessary fights and possibly throw it.
Yeah, you're correct. When they trade up because they're trading forts for keeps, and they also have Falstad sits in the top lane, that global, again, paying off for them, which puts a lot of pressure on beGenius to be the ones to make a play, and they're looking for it. They always keep looking around the boss because they feel that's their moment to make that comeback play that they need so desperately.
This is a really good example of how it can just like play smarter than your opponent here. Because beGenius is now in a situation where they know if they don't do something, they are going to lose this. So they are forced to try and take a fight somewhere. They're going to watch out for opportunities. Right now we have even talents for the two teams, and at this point Synergy is making a play for boss because they had vision on the top and saw their opponents there, but now look at how Power is trying to zone them out. Boss about to be taken. This is a fight that beGenius wants to take, but the Gust is already there. Muradin is not able to come in, but there's the expulsion zone. Everybody moving on the point. This could be still bad for Synergy.
We do have the Tranquility keeping members alive. Neon's on the best left side. Zepka gets focused. Hydra's in trouble as well. He's going to come back and grab the point. The boss is stolen from beGenius. beGenius, by beGenius, the explosion zone helping out so much. However, Synergy is turning this fight around. They're focusing down the Muradin. Can they get the kill? No, he jumps out, and they're looking for some final cleanup so they can defend that boss.
Yeah, Muradin is still there. Now we're having all of a sudden Zamuro trying to escape. You can run, bro, but you can't hide. Or can you?
The Illusion Master Duke.
He's trying. He's jumping out, finds himself in a bush, and then not checking. He's actually getting away there. Kirva with the play. They are trading a 3-for-1 though, but they steal the boss, and that was an important one.
Yeah, that was an important one. That stops the pressure onto their keep. Had that boss actually gone to Synergy, they would start taking damage on their keep in the bottom right, so it's almost worth it, but the problem is Synergy gets a massive lead in terms of experience. They're about to hit level 16, which is a full level, while 2 temples are activating in 30 seconds.
Yeah, 2 of the temples being up, that's really a big deal. And another thing is, of course, that we have with level 16 talents now, that power spike that really helps you out.
Yeah.
So they're going to try and take both of the temples, and yeah, most of the walls at those keeps are gone, so the keeps are going to be attacked directly right now. This is a rough time for beGenius.
beGenius knows it, but they also don't want to deal with too much pressure coming their way. Lucio is desperately looking for experience in the bottom as he's soaking with the aid of Vala. They are taking mercenary camps. That's going to help in their pushing. If they are ignored by Falstad, there could be the possibility that keep walls do get taken out. But beGenius in a rough spot. So close to being in at least an equal state in terms of talents.
Yeah, and right now the mid keep is about to fall. Temple at the top lane hasn't been touched yet. As you said, talents are soon going to be equal, so they can try and look for a fight. And that's what they have to do. Again, this is their one ticket back into this, trying to force team fights and win them. It's the only chance they got. Kirva is low, was chased by Sefka for a moment there into Ice Cream, but now in the middle of the map we are having beGenius with an attempt to take over the temple.
I will say that Synergy is putting a lot of effort into chasing Kirva on that Samuro. It's the 3rd time now that he's gotten away from an escape. And I understand the idea of trying to gank Samuro, but you can kind of leave him alone in his lanes and go force fights. You have a composition that is good at isolating a target. Yeah. Use it.
They should really try and play this a bit smarter. Like, they had a great mid-game and they made very good decisions here, but all of a sudden they are actually making some mistakes, and chasing Samuro is definitely one of them. Why waste time with him if all you have to do is dominate those 2 temples and then take the team fight? You're in a great spot, so yeah, they just chase the rabbit here, so that doesn't really work too well for them. Falstad has to fly up since we had 2 camps at the bottom. This is an important fight for both teams at this point.
There it is. The sound barrier comes out. DN10 dives in. Sefka's on the back left. Tranquility's been popped. Mighty Gus pushing a few away. Zarya will be the main focus. Tank for the win. Desperately trying to live, and he falls. Unstable on the right side. 1-for-1 trade as Hydra falls.
Yeah, Hydra falls, and this is a 4 versus 4. All of a sudden, they're going in again, and Neon finds himself in an awkward position. He's chased by Samuro and Muradin. Down here, on the other hand, it's once again so Ice Cream with the attempt to kill. Falstad dead. Danathan jumping in, looking for the Stormbolt.
And Kirva on the right. He's here with some damage. They also have the Kirva Illusion Master in the front. They could chase this, but if Eric King can get onto a line and apply auto attack damage, they can clean up a few more members, and they know this. Unstable, dancing around. There's the movement speed.
Yeah, once again, Varian in trouble. Arakin going in too, and that's the kill that they needed. beGenius is starting to get the fights that they are looking for. They want to go for Ice Cream. He tries to jump out, goes behind the wall to dodge the Stormbolt, but beGenius has taken a lead in experience for the first time in this game. Synergy still ahead from a structural point of view, but they are starting to lose these fights, and they give beGenius opportunities that the French team is using.
Synergy is doing a synergy game here. In game number 3, strong early game, strong mid game, but they stop playing their composition. This is the point where they have to bring it together and start playing it. Get the variant engaged, get the focus down. They almost had it there on Zarya on that last side, but they grouped up a little bit too heavily, and Hydra got caught out.
I was congratulating them in the mid game for their decision making, not taking fights and playing it smart, and I feel at the time it was very appropriate. Right now, though, this is an issue because, especially when we had the double temples up, as we said, why do you chase Samuro there? Invest the time, take those 2 temples, and run with the advantage. All of a sudden, they have to be a bit afraid again because beGenius now has a chance. They have a good chance at making plays here. Boss is back in 10 seconds. We have even experience, maybe even a faster 20 for beGenius, which is going to give them a power spike. If they win another team fight, Synergy is going to be in trouble here.
And let's call out beGenius, man. They have been doing a solid job of making the plays where they need to. Their opponents have given them opportunities that they shouldn't have, but they seize the opportunities, and that's what's important. Tank for the win, particularly, has hit a solid explosion zone around the boss earlier. He's been there for the shield for his teammates. And Kirwa is playing kind of lights out on a Samuro, which is something I thought I would never say at the HGC. Danotan's been engaged.
And why do you go for Muradin again? I mean, once again, they're trying to take him down, and the Dwarf just doesn't die. This is not news. I mean, this... Synergy's messing up big time right now.
Muradin lives, more news at 9 o'clock tonight, where we talk about Murky never getting taken in the HGC.
Yeah, exactly. Muradin lives, water is wet, and the sky is blue.
Yes, that is the news topics for today. And Synergy vs beGenius. A big engage here from Neon. They're just desperately looking for plays right now. I've used desperately so much in this entire cast, but I feel like it's definitely the moment for both these teams. They're trying so hard to make these struggles of tug of war happen, and it's just not quite connecting.
Exactly, they just need to calm down. Synergy has a win if they want it, and so far they've just in the mid game said, okay, you know what, we actually like playing, so let's go for a fourth game. beGenius, on the other hand, they are actually doing everything they have to do. They present Danatan as a bait. The bait is oftentimes taken, so they're doing exactly what they were hoping for here. Now we have on the other side Molten Core. You have to be careful here. Danatan hops out. Little Dwarf hopping again. The level 20 gives an advantage to beGenius, and they are running with that edge that they have. They are playing this exactly like they're supposed to. They had a rough time early on, but right now, as you said, they take the opportunities that are presented to them, and they get the slight lead that they need. So beGenius is doing everything right here at this point.
Yeah, you are knocking right on the door here. Lucio chased down that fight with this team when they realized it had a 20-19 advantage. They forced a Molten Core, which allows for them to move on to the Temple now. There's no major poke that can happen from Hydra. And also, Synergy has to play careful, because if they get engaged on, they have nothing to retreat to now.
20 is finally in. Okay, so now we have the 20s. Once again, Synergy, this is really a game that is going to be decided by a big team fight. Again, for Muradin. Why? Why?
Because he has a nice beard, he's going to charge forward and continue the fight. Power being focused. Kirwa on the right, using that Illusion Master. Tank for the win's kiting away with the aid of Erikine. Lucio just assisting so much for beGenius.
They have their cooldowns. Curse Bullet is going to be back in 6 seconds. That's the moment when you can make your move. Once again, an opportunity. Kirwa is low, actually. Has to dash out of there. Muradin jumping in once more. That's the kill against Ragnaros. Hasn't even used his ult. That's the problem. beGenius on the move with a second kill. Greymane falls.
Erikine looking for a little more, might not get it, but it may be enough. 2 members for Synergy have fallen. Only Falstad, Varian, and Malfurion up, and that's not a massive amount of damage. The boss is being targeted by Samuro all by himself in the bottom right. The other members should show up and help out, but with a big boss play, beGenius can move in the bottom lane and maybe get a win.
Synergy is panicking here. beGenius making the perfect call. They take the keep in the mid lane, they move towards the boss, and they will aim for a second keep, if not core. At this point, everything done right on the side of beGenius, and Synergy, they have an obsession with that Muradin. I get it, the Cursed Bullet does more damage to him, but for the love of God, just kill someone else. There's 5 targets right in front of you. And to be honest, it's not like beGenius is holding everyone back and just keeps Muradin in range. There's so many opportunities for them to make a play. They have another chance in a few more seconds, and they need to use it. If Synergy wants to walk away with a 3-0 here, this team fight is your last opportunity, because beGenius, they are looking for a win right now.
beGenius pushing in a ton of minions and health bars here. Molten Core popped in the middle. Danotan jumping in on Falstad. He is low on health, but he should survive for now. They turn around, they focus the Muradin. The core is being attacked by the boss, but at least they got Muradin this time.
They got Muradin this time, and once again, they're pushing the opponent back. The boss is on the core, on the other hand, and is already down to 60%. They're trying to move in. This is not looking good for Synergy. It definitely is not. 10% on their core, and that's game. beGenius with the first map win in the best of 5.
beGenius is going to stay in this best-of-5 series. Solid gameplay. They really turned it around in the middle of the match. Now, obviously, we kept talking about Synergy focusing down the Muradin, how it was a misplay, but beGenius takes that opportunity, and they run with it. So kudos to them. And this is the part where Synergy might fall apart. We have beGenius getting the first win. Synergy up 2-0. That's got to hurt here to fall so heavily.
It was a pretty tilting game. I mean, this is really... I don't want to take anything away from beGenius because they did what they had to do.
Sure.
But they fell behind so fast, and it was smart decision-making on the side of Synergy. And in the middle of the map, I don't know what happened there. It seemed like one of them just decided to go AFK for a smoke or something, because that obsession trying to take the mirror is just blowing me away. It's like they have so many targets there, and they could have won this game. They blew this, and now, as you said, this is a chance for beGenius to say, like, okay, we just got to win. It was a hard-fought one. And if we take that momentum right now and translate it into another victory in map 4, map 5, we can actually win this series. And Synergy has to be really careful that they are able to deal with that loss.
Yeah, so what needs to happen for both teams here? Synergy, they need to chill out. Just get ready for the next draft. Just let that last game happen and don't let it get into your psyche. And then the opposing team, beGenius, needs to take that momentum and run with it. Okay, we got to win. We maybe, you know, got it together around the mid-game to late game, but we finished it, and we finished it in a solid manner. Let's finish this series.
It's going to be an interesting match, the next one, because this, arguably from a draft perspective, it was better for Synergy, and the Samuro, we were questioning, okay, how much of an impact is that going to have? Well, it turns out if your opponent keeps chasing that Samuro, then it's going to have a huge impact. He did a great job there.
Yeah.
And this is what they needed to get a foothold in the series. And now we're going to find out in the 4th game if they can translate that into another win and tie the series up. And let's not forget, if you lose 2 in a row now, and if you're on Synergy's side, we saw that they got a bit panicky towards the end of that game and were desperately trying to make a move there. That could really be a problem for their mindset heading into the next map.
Well, I'm excited to see how it unfolds. We'll be right back with game number 4. This is the HGC.
The demon Asmodan had his ultimate victory within reach, until the opposing heroes dealt him a devastating defeat. Asmodan went back to the drawing board and rediscovered his love of the game. The Lord of Sin became the Lord of the Slam.
This is my house. Let's see if you've got game. There it is. Dude, welcome to my jam.
You know, I've been in more scrapes and adventures than I can count. That being said, I've never seen anything like this.
Hail, hero.
Is that a frog in a bubble? Oh gosh, they are so cute. Well then, there's so many friendly people here. Coming through. Love the hair.
Oh, the cavalry's here.